Why do interior designers want to sell you stuff? And why am I talking about it in the front passenger seat of my car? Well, that's because my husband and I are en route to High Point, North Carolina for the fall 2025 home furnishings market. If you don't know what the home furnishings market is, it is the largest home furnishing show in the world. It happens in the fall and it happens in the spring. And this is where interior designers, furniture stores, vendors, artists, influencers, educators, all sorts of people all come in to see what the latest and greatest, have discussions, everything from fabrics, furniture, art, lighting, anything you can, accessories, anything you can think of for the home. It's happening at High Point. And this is like the whole town of High Point, and even beyond. There are actually larger showrooms and companies that are in the whole triad area that they'll bus people out to for that as well. It is like 2,000, around 2,000 vendors. There'd be like 70 to 80,000 people coming to this for this 5 to 7 day show, and it is really one of the main resources for interior designers, residentially speaking. And I'm only going to speak from the residential element, not the commercial, but there's a lot of stuff here for commercial too, but this is primarily more of a residential oriented market. And so we interior designers who specialize in residential interior design, this is a main source for us, main resource. Many of us, myself included, we come at least once a year, and we come with shopping lists. We come to see what's new and the greatest, to keep up with things. Always on the hunt. We're always on the hunt for product, because product is what we need to incorporate into our design. So we're looking for inspiration, and we're looking for our clients. And our clients, some people, they have a hard time with the idea that interior designers, now and today, the majority of my colleagues that I know, not everybody, some people are still just strictly design fee, but most of my colleagues, including myself, we have two revenue streams. We have one for our design fees, and we have one where we're making money on the product. And sometimes people feel a little irritated by that. Like, if our design fees are pretty substantial, and they like, why are you making both money on your design fees and on the product? They kind of seem like almost like double dipping or something. But there are really solid reasons for that. And so this is part one of part two. Part two, I would actually down in High Point, I'll probably land in some sort of showroom or two to discuss this further on the solid reasons why we do make money on product. But I think we need to rewind and just see why the confusion, why we're still trying, as the design profession, are trying to figure out what the best way to operate our business is. And it really stems down to the fact is, this profession of interior design, it's a relatively young profession. I mean, really until the beginning of the 20th century, the 1900s, where we first had the birth of the interior decorator. Dorothy Draper comes to mind. But until then, you didn't have a person that was orchestrating your interior per se. You would have the furniture maker, or you would have the draper, or you would have the construction team that was doing the millwork or whatever. But it was really in the 20th century that this profession started to become something where people were hired to actually create these interior projects. So it was interior decorating, and an interior decorator historically only made money on selling stuff. They weren't making professional fees. They were really just selling the drapes and the furniture and that sort of thing. And then also going on in the 20th century is you have the architect world is changing. And so now you have the Baja movement, and now you have architects that not only are designing buildings, but they're designing interior furnishings as well. They're designing classic chairs that we know today, whether it's the Marcel Breuer chair, or Eros Saarinen, Corbusier, Frank Lloyd Wright. These reproductions are actually still being sold today. And what started this whole focus that the interior of the building, it's not just the shell of the building, it's also everything going in it. This word interior design, interior decoration, we're starting going hand in hand. So by the time you hit the 60s and then into the 70s for sure, you had now a profession called interior design as we know it. Now we have curriculum in colleges that are offering degrees in interior design. You have And with that, you had FIDER, which is the organization that watches over the curriculum and the standards for that. You had organizations like NCIDQ, the National Council of Interior Design Qualification, which is a standardized test for the minimum competency of what is required for an interior designer. Commercial designers generally almost always go for that. We residential designers, some of us have and some of us haven't, but it's just sort of established that we have a minimum competency for these particular, what is this required to be, what they think is required for an interior designer. And so I am born into this world where my mother was a decorator, and now I'm going to age myself. So I went to college 84 for a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Interior Design. And I was actually intending to be a commercial interior designer at first. And so I am now, we're getting educated in all those things that overlap with architecture, with architectural construction and detailing, along and millwork, and lighting and all those sorts of things. But we're also learning history of furniture, history of materials, color and lighting, all those things in the furnishings and the art and all that sort of thing, because it's kind of a mesh of both things. And so out into the world we go in the 80s, and now you have the proliferate, you have these large interior design firms that are mostly doing commercial, and you have architectural firms that are having large interior design departments. And so this whole world of this is a profession of interior design. It has professional fees like an architect. And so now you have a whole new generation of interior designers, and you still have the world of the interior decorator who is selling things kind of coming together and colliding. And realistically, you cannot separate interior design and interior decorating, especially in the residential world. It's all meshed. We need to decorate as part of our interior design, our design. I did a video on this, on what the difference is between interior design and interior decorating. I'm not going into that today. You would just have to go look at that video. But the point is, now we have this thing where we're selling things, and we're doing design fees, and we're trying to figure out, and of course we're confusing the public along the way. And so that, I would say, the first 20 years of my, and even beyond, I would say I'm still trying to figure it out. But there wasn't any resources for these new interior designers on how to run an interior design business. Okay, maybe there was one. I can think of like one or two, but very little. And so we're all working through it. Now you come back 15 to 20 years ago, and now you're starting to see interior design business coaches. You're starting to see interior design curriculums. We're starting to have help we interior designers, because we tend to be artists, and we're not necessarily we didn't go to school to be business people. And quite frankly, relatively speaking, design is easy. The business of design is very, very difficult, and trying to navigate that, it's been a bit of a struggle. So fortunately, now there are many resources that that young designers have. And so, like, when a young designer comes to me and says, I think, I worked a little bit, I've had some education, what should I do? I'm saying you should go look for one of these curriculums, one of these interior design business coaches that most closely aligns to what you think you would like your company to be like, and you buy into that, you follow them, and they will take you light years quicker to success than the older ones who had to just figure it out by trial and error. So I will pick this up back in High Point to talk again about what it is, why we have landed. The majority of the industry, in some form or fashion, is not all the same, have landed in a combination of design fee and in selling product, and why we have arrived there. And basically the key point that I'll pick up is it's the only way we can make a decent living at this. I know that sounds strange because it is a luxury market, but it is not an easy industry to make money at. So see you back at High Point for part 2, and we'll talk about it some more. So we're at High Point, day 2, and I just wanted to give you a little smattering of an outdoor. We're in one neighborhood. I'm going to turn it around in a second, but when we try to explain how big this show is, people are they look at us confused. People are waiting for the bus, but it's the whole town, and you can see that there's 2 main bus routes, plus a lot of shuttles that get us around. So we are called the Hamilton Wren area, and we'll be spending a lot of our day right in this neighborhood. Okay, so day 2 at High Point, and I'm inside of the showroom. I tried to pick one that was nobody around to talk a little bit. So High Point is about sourcing. This is, again, where the vendors, the stores, the trade showrooms, the interior designers, it's trade only, but we're coming to source product for our customers and clients. And so even if I am not a dealer for a particular manufacturer, I'm still checking them out. And a lot of times I will be buying it from a local furniture store. If there's not a local furniture store, then I'll get with the rep and find out how to best acquire it for the client. But we are doing a deep dive into what's the latest, how are things made. We are developing a mental and a physical library. So even though we are sourcing as part of our contract for our clients, we are also sourcing in general for that mental and physical library, because we have to have the experience and know where to find things. And so, yeah, some of the part of this trip is actually billable, but a lot of it isn't. And we, whether you're a furniture store or a designer, we are investing a lot of time and energy and money into trying to find the best product for our clients and customers. And so, to that point is, we're doing the work. We're creating that work. When you hire a designer to, let's say, like, get a sofa, she or he's not starting from scratch. They're coming from experience and knowledge of a whole array of lines to go. And so we usually have an idea of who we're going, what manufacturer we're going to go to, and also we're responsible for checking these things out, making sure our clients and our customers are buying a good quality. Yes, there's a lot of variety and price point, but we have to be knowledgeable of how things are constructed so we can have those informed conversations with our client. So yes, we're investing a lot in sourcing and knowing that, and that is all behind it. It's not directly billable, but it's one of the reasons why we want to sell something. We put the work into knowing these products. So I wanted to put a little note in here on what it means to become a dealer. So to become a dealer for some sort of home furnishing item, whether it's furniture or rugs or lamps or whatever, it's a range. So for the higher end market, like upholstery or expensive case goods, the buy-in to become a dealer, to even be approved, is usually a large investment with a certain minimum of pieces on the floor, which usually translates to a furniture store or a trade showroom type of thing. Some designers have gone down that road where they have a retail store and they've made that investment just like any other store. Most of we designers, even if we do have some sort of brick and mortar, we're not necessarily trying to be a store. So we usually don't get involved with that. But it can also be all the way down the other end of things where there is no minimum to have a wholesale count, or we don't have to put anything on the floor, to anything sort of in between. So a number of us, quite a few of us, we have some favorite furniture lines or favorite rug lines or lamp lines or whatever that we know that we are going to specify repeatedly from those companies because we really believe in, we like the product. And so we will make the investment of whatever that minimum buy-in is to become a dealer for two big reasons. One, profit, because being a dealer, having a dealer account, means we can sell to our clients at a very competitive, very good pricing and still make money on our end. So we're not leaving all this money of specification on the table. And number two is control. And we're going to talk about that in the next talk or two. But if we are trying to manage this project, by being a dealer, it gives us the resources from the company, both in-house and outside reps. We are updated on sampling. We are giving notifications if we have any problems or tracking or having issues or any kind of damage or whatever. It's because we are the dealer. We have that kind of control. We can hold it. We know where the material is. We know where things are. So then when it comes time to actually put it into the home, we have control. And so those are the two big reasons why we do want to become dealers for many of the products that we enjoy. So back in a situation where we designers cannot be dealers for everything, and we have to rely on either a trade showroom or a retail store that we have a relationship with. And so I do have relationships with different vendors, and they have it's a small discount, it's not a lot, but the difference of what my trade pricing is with their store versus somebody who just came in off the street is a little different. And I, like many designers, don't share that, and there's a reason for that. I know one designer said, yeah, I'm not a coupon, but the real reason why I don't like to do that is because here I'm down at market, I'm spending the time to get to know this Omnia leather company that one of the stores around my area sells, and they can't put everything, they only can put a certain representation, bestsellers on their floor, but the line is much larger than that. And so I wanted to try this sectional out because it's, we designers, we don't like the big high back sectionals in general. They just kind of look frumpy. We like the sleek Italian low look, but everybody get this, right? Everybody wants that headrest. Here it comes. To watch TV, have the next, too much, adjust it. So that's about comfort, right? But then when it's not being used to watch television, there it goes, and you have a nice low look, sleek look. So spending a lot of time just touching, feeling, investigating, and so that knowledge, all that's that library of mine in my head, in both in my photographic and written notes, that's part of the investment that as an interior designer I've gone and looked, and so therefore I'm not sharing that discount. So moving on. All right, market day 4, to make the final point of why we designers want to sell you stuff. So yeah, I'm bad. It's been raining, it's cold, bad hair day. But really what it is the big reason, especially if you're working with a full service interior designer, is that we want to do everything. We want to do everything from the layout, the structure, the architectural detailing, all the way to the finishing touches, flowers on the wall. And I'm going to use the analogy to a chef again. I think I do this quite often, is that we not only want to create the menu and the recipes, and then we are figuring out what all the materials, so what's in season or what is available, and all those things, that's the sourcing. And then we just don't want to hand you the menu and the recipes, we want to make it for you, we want to cook it for you. And so getting it done, that's part of the procurement. That's buying it, getting all the details down. If you go into the market and things and tomatoes don't look good, you got to think of something else. But same thing with furniture and furnishings and things like that. We have an idea of what we want to use, but we sometimes we have to punt, and we want to be able, and we are better familiar with the industry, so that if something is wrong, we're getting the ordering process, or something's back ordered or discontinued, we have the experience to do that. So really getting the project done comes down to experience, and most of our clients don't have it. And quite frankly, most of our our clients, they don't want to have to deal with it. They don't want to have to deal with all those issues and watching it. And then when we want to pull it all together and create that big dinner party for you, and have the great food and the candles and the flowers, that's when your house is done. And that includes the final accessories, the art, hanging it, to pull all that together, the logistics of the shipping, the storage, the delivery, the fluffing, the installations, all that sort of thing. That is what this whole process needs to get down to the finish line. And so that is why if we're going to be responsible for all those things, then we need to, there's risk, we should be compensated for risk, because risk without compensation, that's not a really good business plan. So anyway, I'm going to finish it off. We want to make sure the design that you want happens and happens well. And to do that, we really need to get involved. So maybe your designer, I don't do 100%, but a lot of designers want to handle all the purchasing because they can control the process better. I'm one of the designers that, it's a little bit of both, but I notice that when I turn it over to my clients, they really do have a hard time dealing with certain those issues, because whoever orders it is responsible for the whole execution. So that's it. Reasons why we want to sell you stuff. Yeah, we want to make money. We want to make sure we were putting a lot of effort into the sourcing. We put a lot of effort in making it happen. And we want you to have a great product at the end. And so that means we need to be able to control it from the start to the finish. Okay, thanks for joining me. And I think I'm going to do something on accessories staging, because that's the part of it that people really forget about. Okay, see you next time.